today I'm going to introduce you to a career with global reach. And I have a very special person here with me who is Zane Palmer. Zane, welcome. Somebody who lives locally. We both live in Port Elizabeth, that is in the East Cape in South Africa, but somehow his career made him reach way beyond South Africa, into the world. Zane, we just showcased something. It is a Canon. Can you just say something about this Canon, which I assume you completely designed and made?
Yeah, this Canon that I've just finished making is a British 7-pounder. It was designed for use in the area in which we live. It was designed by the British at the Royal Gun Factory in Woolwich. And yeah, I've made it now to a scale of 1/6, and it's pretty much a sculpture, although it's more of a replica than a sculpture. So yeah, and it's off to America.
It's off to America. Well, it makes the case, global reach. But what I would like to share in our talks is that you never in advance can know what will happen when you follow your wildest dream.
That's for sure.
So I remember we first chatted with one another. It's long ago, I don't have the year exactly in my head, but you were in a job. I also don't quite remember which one it was, but you came to chat and you said, I'm actually not satisfied with what I am doing. And then I asked you about the highlights of things that interested you, and we were exploring your talent and so on. And do you remember telling me about, I think it was your grandfather working at a forge? And you had a fascination with, can you describe the fire in the metal?
Yeah, I've always had a fascination with fire and metal. And even when I was a little boy, I used to do castings. And when I was like 6, I was casting little skull and crossbones for pirates and selling them at school. So yeah, I've always enjoyed that sort of thing.
So it was deeply in you, you did it almost spontaneously, you took to it. But I remember us talking that, yes, you love this, you obviously still love it. When you talk about the past, obviously you still love doing that kind of thing. But you said, well, I now have a family. I don't know if the 2 sons were already born yet, but have a family. I must make a career plan and do something that I still would like, but something that's going to provide for the family. And that is when I remember you brought up the special training program for welding in the UK. Why did you have to go to the UK? What was special about that program? Could you not do this anyway in a training college in South Africa?
I could have done it locally. The difference being that the companies that I was looking to be employed by were not looking for South African qualifications. So therefore I had to go and get the British qualifications. And that took me to jobs offshore, which was really good, but once again, not quite what I really wanted to do. And now finally I'm getting to do what I've always wanted to do.
Yes, that's going to be the end of the rainbow in your story. It starts with your fascination as a young boy and being working with metal. I can see the connection with welding. I can also see the necessity to get a valid qualification there,
yeah.
But I do remember it was quite, I think, a personal expense to do these courses in England. But that certification then allowed you to work internationally, or what?
Yeah, I've worked in Angola, I've worked in Congo, I've worked Ghana, and most recently I've been in Madagascar.
The global reach.
Yes.
Is happening. Yeah,
yes.
Strong focus on Africa. I do understand your work is then situated on oil rigs, is that correct?
Oil rigs, and in the last 2 years I was working doing asset integrity management on...
Sorry, you did what?
Asset integrity management. And that was on a nickel mine in Madagascar.
I think we're going to have to give some special attention to that. world of work on those rigs, which the average person who will never set foot there doesn't know anything about. So, with your permission, we're going to look a bit more about the Canon that you brought here to showcase, but then we're going to come back and talk about the world on the rigs and the culture of the rigs. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so this is a little British 7-pounder that I made. Here's your elevation, turning the handle up and down, and then this comes off. So if you want to turn the cannon, you'd have to move it left and right like that. This is a footrest, and one of the gunners would sit here and another one would sit there. And this little box contains some shrapnel shells. So there we have 3 shells ready to use, or 4. It actually takes 3 per side. And the little lock that I've made actually works. And the footrest can fold away if you want to, with a little latch that can secure it in position. And here we have a little hammer. And yeah, the crest that you see, that's Queen Victoria's crest. And this cannon would have been fired using a friction tube. I was asked to do the ammunition wagon, so I've done the limber. And each little lock works. And each box that you see here contains 15 shells underneath and 15 shells on top, with the gunpowder would be stored in there. Box closes. On top here you've got little belts. Because there's no suspension on this thing, the gun crew would put blankets on here, and then that would be their cushion to sit on. By undoing this belt and pulling the pin out in the front, the whole box could be removed and taken to the front of the gun to be used.